Who's flying over here? What? How do I got two trunks? What is happening here? Why I got two of you? I'll never forget you. Thank you, Trunks. You're a good friend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. I won't forget it either, hater. Neither will my twin here. You like my twin? He's from another future. He's another Trunks from another future, from another future, from the future I'm from. You know what I'm saying? I completely broke time this time. I'm sorry. I completely broke time. I don't know how to put it back together. I'm sorry. Just by meeting Ader, he just completely broke time. Now there's two of them. This is ridiculous. Trunks, go back to your own time. This is why Beerus says don't do this shit.
Wait, Mr. God, sir, listen to me, please.
Your Mr. God, sir, is over there.
Believe it or not, the kitty cat is a destroyer god.
I am merely Lord Beerus's faithful attendant.
Serious?
I said check 1 2, check 1 2. Alright, let's tell people what we're doing. I love Dragon Ball Z. Like, when I was a kid, I had a friend in elementary school who actually introduced it to me by asking me if taking a destructo disc to the nuts would hurt. That's how I met my friend, and that's how I was introduced to Dragon Ball Z. Ever since I was a kid, I thought Dragon Ball Z would work really well in an RPG, and there has been Dragon Ball Z RPGs before in the past, like Legacy of Goku, but nothing quite like this. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a great Dragon Ball Z game, and will please Dragon Ball Z fans out there. However, is it good as an open world RPG? Let's find out. This is Reaper Reviews, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So, just like always, we're going to break this down into 3 digestible bites: graphics, story, and gameplay. Let's get into it. This game's graphics are beautifully stylized to look like the show, or at least what my brain thinks the show looks like through nostalgia goggles.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep?
Everything is bright colors and very anime style. The cell shading is a great choice for Dragon Ball Z, as it really brings out every single blast and attack. It looks really, really good. Cutscenes are really where this game begins to shine, as every big scene in the show has a big scene in the game. Kind of like Vegeta's sacrifice, or the father-son Kamehameha, or the battle between Goku and Vegeta. They all look amazing, and they all have that exaggerated style, just like in the anime. The menus, just like in Persona 5, are stylized just like the game, so they all look really, really clean and really, really nice. There are some scenes in the game that don't get a big scene. One scene that I thought was kind of disappointing that didn't get a big scene was when Vegeta found out his Dragon Balls were stolen on planet Namek. Didn't get a big scene, but I really wish it did, because we all remember what happened when he found out in the Bridge series.
Billy, do you hear that?
I
feel that.
So, the graphics look great. They're beautiful. There are some times that, like in the side quests, that don't get good scenes and that are mostly just talk bubbles. But other than that, I really like how this game looks. So let's move on to story. Do I really have to spend a lot of time here? I think you all know the story of Dragon Ball Z by now, as it's been in every Dragon Ball Z game iteration since the 80s. But if you've been living on a rock, here's the rundown. The game pretty much follows Goku, and if you don't know who that is, welcome to the internet. Goku meets up with his friends, basically showing off the fact that he does know how and can reproduce.
Kakarot, you've never kissed someone? Huh? No, of course not. Why? You're married and have children. Yeah, duh, but what's that have to do with kissing?
Stop it. Get some help.
Raditz, his brother, comes to Earth, takes his son, realizes he's a alien monkey. He has to go with Piccolo. During the fight with Raditz, Piccolo kills Goku. They then have to fight the Saiyans, which involves Goku coming back from the dead and killing Vegeta. They then have to go to Namek, gather the Dragon Balls, but before they can do that, they gotta fight Frieza. Then they come back to Earth, deal with the androids, which Trunks basically tells them about. And because of Vegeta, they have to deal with Cell. Time skips 7 years. Now you have to deal with Gohan being a high schooler.
I am the unmitigated champion of justice, who tolerates no evil. Great Saiyaman at your service.
Stop it.
And then all in all, they defeat Boo by throwing a spirit bomb on top of his head.
See ya!
The interesting thing about this game is that it does actually add a little bit more lore to Dragon Ball Z. Some things that are added that Akira Toriyama might have stated in an interview but never actually added into the show. For example, Android 16, he never mentions to Gohan that he was modeled after Dr. Gero's son, but that does come up in the game. There are other side quests like this that add more story and lore, but most of them, unfortunately, are fetch quests. But we'll get into that when we talk about the gameplay. The gameplay in this game can be split up into two sections: the combat and the role-playing. One of them is very good.
That's good.
The other one could use some work.
That's bad.
Let's start with the good news first: the combat. If you've played Dragon Ball Xenoverse or Xenoverse 2, you should be very familiar with this type of arena-style combat. During combat, you'll have your main attacks, which are your melee attacks, and then you'll have your key attacks as well, which just do the little blasts, pretty much. You'll also have your special attacks mapped to the triggers, which are, your Kamehamehas and Gallic guns that you can blast off. The other things you can have are support attacks, which if you have one or more characters with you at the time, they can also help and have 2 different attacks that they can do. Most of the enemies you'll fight around in the open world will be mainly Red Ribbon Army robots, or you'll fight Frieza Army forces. Lord knows you'll fight the occasional Cybermen.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion, yeah.
Those battles get pretty repetitive, as you'll get into them quite often as you fly through the open world. But where this game really shines is the character and boss battles. Since Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a single player game, they don't hold back on the number of flashy moves that the bosses can do. But now on to the bad news, because since this game is a single player RPG, we need to talk about how you progress in this game. Dragon Ball Z has always been about training.
I wanna be a Super Saiyan! I wanna!
Training and getting stronger. Mostly how this game uses the progression system is by exploring the world. Now, I love world exploration games, and I love the fact that this game has a world to explore. But your experience is tied to things called Z orbs, and the way you get more attacks and more special moves is tied to things called D medals. Now, all of these things can be obtained through side quests and going through the main story, but a lot of them that you're going to find is out in the world. So most of your progression isn't actually tied to training, it's mainly tied to searching the open world. Now, the open world does have a lot of things to do in it. You can go fishing, you can hunt. Most of what you do in the open world is for food, basically, which you use to gain experience or have different buffs that will enhance your character for a certain amount of time. The downside to this progression system is that it takes a lot of time, just going through the world looking for certain orbs and certain medals. I mean, you can go ahead and do so, but it feels to me it's a lot of padding in the game. I truly believe if they made the progression system more tied to fighting and less tied to searching for D medals and Z orbs, I think it would have been a little bit more enjoyable. In addition, another downside I saw was the DLCs, because if we want to talk about padding, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The first DLC is Battle of the Gods, and it's a completely different story than the Battle of the Gods movie or the arc we saw in the show. Whis just brings Goku and Vegeta to their planet and trains them up because he thought they were interesting.
Though this could be considered something akin to cheating.
It is cheating.
Strictly speaking, us meeting here shouldn't occur in this manner.
Oh, so he knows he changed the
That
timeline.
said, try not to waste too much time thinking about it. Okay?
You know.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I do. You messed up
okay.
the timeline, Whis.
Fine
You're
by
breaking the
me.
timeline. And in this mode, you can literally skip the entire story and go from base to Super Saiyan God without even going through the story mode.
Akin to cheating.
The second DLC is the Return of Frieza, where Golden Frieza comes back to Earth. Now, this one is more of a horde mode, but it starts at level 100 for the regular guys. So the problem is that if you just beat the Battle of Gods DLC, you're going to have Goku and Vegeta up to at least level 200, maybe even 300, and but your other characters won't be trained. So if your other characters are below level 80 or even 90, you're going to be doing 1 damage to all of the characters. So you got to get all of your characters up to around level 100 or higher. The third DLC is the History of Trunks, which just came out not too long ago.
You're fire! This man isn't black! What?
This one is a story mode that is completely separate from the main story. None of your items transfer, none of your experience transfers. It's almost like a separate game. The problem I have isn't that it's a story mode, or it's separate from the main story, or your items don't transfer. The problem I have with it is that it goes almost kind of backwards. As we're dealing with Dragon Ball Super with Battle of Gods, we're dealing with Dragon Ball Super with Return of Frieza, but then we go back to Dragon Ball Z with History of Trunks. It doesn't further the story. So in conclusion, the graphics are great, the story is great, but it's also a story you've heard 1,000 times, but it is presented amazingly well. There is a lot of padding when it comes to the RPG elements, but if you can stand that, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is an amazing game. It's a great time, it's a wonderful nostalgia trip, and I would definitely recommend it if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, or if you're an anime fan. Thanks for being here. thanks for watching this. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace and love.